Hello and welcome to the channel. Thanks very much for watching. I'm going to do something a little bit different this time. I've split this video into two parts. The first part concentrates on basically attaching the dial to the movement and putting the hands on and putting the second hand on. And then the second part, part two, that focuses on getting the movement into the case and assembling the final version of the watch. So I hope that's a bit easier for people to watch, and if I split it into two like this, it lets me go into a little bit more detail. The feedback I'm getting is that people want a little bit more detail on certain parts. They don't want me just sort of skipping past certain parts and assuming that they've watched earlier videos. I mean, of course, you always can look at my earlier videos, but if you haven't got time for that, then hopefully this video will meet some of your needs. So at the moment there, I was just looking at the dial feet, and yet again, I've got a dial that doesn't really fit very well into the movement. I think one of the problems is I buy lots of dials. I've got loads at any one moment. You never know. On the internet, they look one thing, and then they get it delivered, and they're either not so good or they're better than you thought, or whatever. So I buy quite a few. And of course I've got various movements. I don't just buy a dial to match a movement. That's probably, especially if you're starting off, that's probably what you should do. But I want a bit more variety and a bit more choice. So hence, sometimes I'm pairing dials that aren't necessarily designed for the movement that they're going with. So this one, the feet do fit into the holes in the movement, but it's not really tight enough for me. I think it needs to be a little bit more firmly attached. And one thing you've got to make sure, if you're attaching the dial to the movement, you've got to make sure the attachment's firm, because if it's not, see the hole in the middle of the dial face there, the pinion sticks through that hole, and if it's loose, it won't stick through far enough to give you an easy arrangement with the hands. As you can see there, I'm still having a bit of trouble putting this particular foot in. I'm just bending it. It's nearly right. I'm just bending the foot just to make sure it goes. It's only a millimetre or two away from where it should be, so I'm just bending it to make sure it goes in properly. But I'm still not happy, and in the end, I think I'm going to use dial stickers to make sure that they're firmly attached. So here I am attaching the first of the dial stickers. Just press down on the surface and then peel the paper off. So reveal just the sticky bit underneath. They're very, very thin, but they stick really quite well. I'll show you one more before I speed it up. So I'm trying to find a high bit of the plastic to put them on, and now I'm speeding them up, just so you don't sit through me putting 4 different dial stickers on at that pace. Now I'm putting the dial on, and I'm making sure that the pinion is sticking evenly through the hole. So then it's time to move the date wheel. So I pull the stem out all the way and start rotating it to move the position of the dial. The dates on the dial, so that they're ready to change. And when they're just about ready to change, I know that the hour and minute hand are going to be on midnight in the setting of the movement. So I've just done that. So it's on midnight. So now it's just a case of attaching the minute hand, the hour hand and the minute hand, and then the second hand. So starting with the hour hand. Obviously it needs to be at 12 o'clock. And I'm just gently pushing down with a dial pusher, and then repositioning the hour hand as necessary to get into the exactly into the 12 position. And it's very easy with the hand pusher to just push the dial, push the hands in at an angle. And this little machine, this little hand pressing machine, I really recommend it. I will do a video showing the sort of basic tools you need to get into this watchmaking lark, but this little hand pressing machine is pretty good at keeping everything nice and even. You can still press down too far, mind, but I mean, however far down you press, it's an even pressure all the way. So you've got to listen for a little, tiny little sort of click. So the hour hand's on, and now I'm just moving the hand round the dial to make sure that the date changes round about the 12 mark. Here we go, and there we go. Right, so that's pretty good. The hour hand's clearly it's in the right position. So now I've got to get the minute hand on. And I always move the hour hand out of the way, either to the 6 o'clock or 9 o'clock position. In this particular case, I'm putting it at 9 o'clock. And I don't know, just visually, I quite like creating an exact right angle. It's easy for me to see a right angle. Whereas if the hour hand's at the 12 mark and I've got to get it covered by the minute hand, somehow I'm always like half a minute out, whereas this way I can get it on, and that's a nice right angle, so that's good. Now there's a problem here. That minute hand I've pushed down too far, and the edge of the minute hand is fouling on the indices of the dial, so I have to fix that. And to do it, I get a bit of plastic. It can be just ordinary plastic wrapping paper, or in this case a dial protector piece of plastic, and you just put the plastic under the edge of the minute hand, and just literally just sort of pull it up a bit and bend it. Obviously if you snap the minute hand you've gone too far, or if you pull it off the pinion you've also gone too far, but that's no problem. Usually it's not necessarily damaged. But I've just sort of pulled it up a bit and straightened it out. It wasn't quite enough the first time, so here I am doing it the second time. It's as well to show you these things going wrong and how to fix them, because quite possibly when you're doing your first watch, if it's your first one, then you at some point you're going to push down too hard, I promise you. And if you do, this is how to fix it. You see me getting it under the minute hand? And now I'm just levering it upwards, trying to bend the minute hand back up to a better position. You've got to get the sort of piece of plastic fairly close to the pinion, so that you can bend it sort of at source, if you know what I mean. But that's looking pretty straight now, so I'm happy with that. Obviously you've got to not overdo it, because then you'll foul the second hand when you put the second hand on. But this looks okay to me. I mean, I'll know more when I put the second hand on. And we'll see if it's a clean placement. Now again, I'm just turning the hour hand and the minute hand, looking at the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock positions, making sure that when the hour hand is on each of those numbers, the minute hand is exactly on the 12, and it is. So it's making a nice right angle each time, or a straight line in the case of 6 o'clock. And at 12 o'clock, does the date move? Yes, it does. So that's good. Right, so on to the second hand. Now this is how I go about putting the second hand on. I've got this little, I bought this on some website, Temu or AliExpress, whatever. And it's just a little holder for a laptop or an iPad, and it rotates. So what it does is, you can see the table I do my watch building work on, but this just raises the platform a little bit closer to eye level. It's really important to get close to eye level if you can. And in this particular case, it lets me get it sort of closer to the microscope. So if I want to do a sort of detailed shot for you guys, I use for the overhead shot. I use this microscope, which I've got linked to a Mac, and I can record what it's seeing. So I used that earlier on to on a movement which I'll show you in part 2. So you're not going to get a microscope view at the minute. That's in part 2. But here we go. Oh, and I've just dropped the second hand, and I haven't even noticed. But never mind, it's only on the dial face. So now I'm having another go, and I've attached the second hand to the hand pusher again with a bit of Rodico. And now just got to see if I can find this tiny little pin sticking through the pinion. Nearly. And there you go, done it. Always good to get the second hand on. So that's good. That second hand's on, and now all I need to do is just sort of straighten it a bit using the machine, and not just rely on the hand pushing, which can be at a little bit of an angle. And yeah, I'm pleased with this. This is the second hand's going pretty well. Okay, that's the end of part 1. Part 2 is available if you want to watch it. That's where I put it in the case. So hopefully see you then. Thanks very much for watching.